Welcome to Android Authority On Air, the original Android Hangout show on Google+. I'm Derek Ross.
And I'm Scott Anderson.
And this week we're joined with returning guest Dan Charlton of Tiamat Kernels. He hasn't developed one in a while, but once he's not busy anymore, he's going to start kerneling all the things in the very near future. And we have a very special guest with us this evening. You may recognize him from certain YouTube drop test videos. He is the co-owner of Android Authority. Welcome, Darcy Lacovay. Darcy?
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, so tell us about these YouTube drop test videos. You know, we've seen you destroy beautiful Android phones and beautiful iPhones. You know, you're a pretty popular guy, getting millions and millions and millions of views. What that drop test is like 15 million views alone. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. You know, the demand sort of went up crazy, and at one point it was doing almost 2 million views a day, and it kind of slowed down. It's doing around 50,000 views a day. People are still interested. I think, you know, because the iPhone 4S was, and all iPhones previously, in fact, they just were not durable. You know, just one drop, they would break. But the iPhone 5, they improved on the build quality in such a way that the device is probably one of the most high-quality devices I've ever tested. So we just went to Hong Kong. It was one of the first markets to be available. We bought on the gray market. They had a really, really closed, tight-knit thing. You had to be a Hong Kong resident to get it, so we kind of had to pay a little bit extra.
And, yeah, how'd that work out? You had to get on the black market or something? Like,
well, the black market is like illegal. It's called the gray market, actually.
The gray market. Okay.
It's a little bit more ethical, I suppose. Either way, so we went to the event and there was just lineups. The year previously, there were so many scalpers that had just broke out into riots at like this high-end mall in Hong Kong with the police getting there and people punching each other and stuff. And the mall didn't like that, so they had a much more controlled thing this time. So we bought it off a guy, and we had a videographer there, and we just went to the Bay of Hong Kong, and we decided to drop it and, you know, capture it in slow motion. We were really curious to see, because we actually thought that it was going to break, but it didn't break. Like, it couldn't break.
You know what? You submerged it in a fish tank. You drove over it with a car. You hit it with a hammer.
Did, yeah.
That's a damn durable phone.
I believe it got some coffee at one point. Didn't it get some coffee? It
got
caffeinated?
We dropped a whole big cup of fresh Android Authority's finest on that bad boy, and it still kept working. You know, the downfall of it is that the battery wasn't removable, so we weren't able to power it down quickly enough after the fish tank test, essentially, the water test. So that led to its demise. Yeah, I mean, no phone can withstand 15 seconds submerged. That's just impossible.
Oh yeah.
And but actually, Fujitsu and Sharp and Sony, they all have waterproof devices now, so I think it's something that will catch on. Maybe.
Now, out of all the devices you've been testing, you know, drop test, reviewing, and so forth, what's your, you know, you did the Note 2, you did obviously the Galaxy S3, and then a couple others. What's your favorite one so far?
Definitely the Galaxy Note 2.
Is that your daily driver now?
That's my daily driver right now, and it was tough going from the S3 to it because the S3 just offers such intuitive one-handed operation, and it's just at the breaking point of what a one-handed device can be. You know, that 4.8-inch screen. But you know, since I made the transition, I've really started to like it. You know, Jelly Bean out of the box, so it's just extremely fluid. The performance is fantastic, and you know, for someone like me that consumes a lot of content.
5.5-inch screen, right?
Yeah, it's 5.5-inch screen. It is a big phone. It feels ridiculous to put up to the side of your face.
Can you one-hand it at all?
You can. Yeah, actually, if you you figure out what you do a lot of, like taking pictures or, you know, just checking the site or whatever. If you can put the icons, you know, on the launcher, you can get it. But even still, it requires a little bit of finesse in terms of using like your pinky to balance it. You're pushing it.
Yeah.
So it's almost like we've gone back to the old Zach Morris phones, you know?
Almost, yeah. It's going to be popular. I love those attachments where you can have like a...
Zach Morris was being up there in Canada?
Not that I mean, I was a big fan of Saved by the Bell back in the day.
Oh,
you know?
okay, all right.
Hell yeah, man. I'm an 80s kid like you, brother.
I didn't know. All right.
Dude, 8-bit all the way, man. I want to hear everything in 8-bit. I want to go back.
Nice.
I'm being told that our Hangout is echoing like crazy.
Well, why are we echoing?
I don't hear any echoing.
I don't hear any echoing. Well, you know what? I don't hear any echoing. So that we'll try to work on that, and
Give me 1 second.
we'll continue on. I mean, we're all using these new mics. Maybe it's the new mic's fault. I don't know. Turn the old gain down there a little bit. All right. So any new big news over there? Any new bombs that binders of Android, binders of Nexus devices might be dropped on us in the near future? Or
For my end, like what I'm seeing
yeah,
coming.
anything
Hmm.
you see coming over there?
Well, I've been thinking a lot about the Nexus program, and what Google's really trying to do here, with their top tier partners. And for me, just looking forward, the specs that are coming out, and the ones even of yesteryear, like a dual core Exynos, 1.2 gigahertz, these are more than sufficient to run Android 4.1 really, really well. So I think a lot of manufacturers are very concerned about just being commoditized, having their devices, not be able to command the sort of pricing premium that they're hoping for. And we're seeing devices out of China already with Jelly Bean on them, selling for like $200, $250. And maybe they don't have like the best build quality, but it's only a matter of time before we start seeing like really good quality Androids for $200 unlocked, like no carrier
Oh, I
intervention
definitely
whatsoever.
agree with that.
Yeah.
I can't
All
wait
right,
till that.
so what else we got
Yeah.
what else we got on our plate this week, Scott?
Well, we got some Android ecosystem stuff, some events around Google, and we have a lot of app updates. We have device updates and some rumors. We also have some controversial carrier news and some patent wars. Apple loses again.
Good
All
news.
right, all right. So let's talk a bit about Android here. We've been hearing for a few weeks now that Google was going to be holding an event scheduled for October 29th. That official date first came out from a French publication, and we're like, oh well, they don't normally leak Android news, but it might be on the 29th. A few reports start coming out that was going to be the date. That was going to be the date. And then this week, Google sent out an official invitation letting us know that there was going to be an Android event in New York City at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on October 29th, and that the playground was open. So is that going to be the binders of Android, or are we going to have binders and Nexus devices released there? I don't know. But what we do know is there is a new version of Android coming, and we do know that there are at least one confirmed, well, unofficially confirmed, we'll say. I mean, we might as well call it confirmed, damn near confirmed new Nexus phone coming. So let's talk about possibly a new version of Android that will be announced in the near future. As some of you know, Android Police recently obtained a system dump from the LG Nexus 4 / LG Optimus Nexus / and no official name yet. And on their system dump they did a little bit of a tear down, a little bit of looking into some strings and so forth to see exactly what is going to be coming in the near future with Android. And there's a few security enhancements for those of you that are security conscious. Those of you that hear the rumors fly around the web, the FUD, the fear, uncertainty, and doubt that Android is plagued with malware or unsecure. Well, the media eats that stuff up with Android, and it makes sense. You always got to attack the big guy. You always got to try to knock the big guy down. So Google's coming back and telling them basically to be quiet because they're going to be implementing SMS shortcode confirmation, which right now, let's say you get you get an app, and the app wants to send a message to an SMS shortcode that ends up costing you money. Well, you're going to get a confirmation in the future if these rumors pan out to be true that will let you know that, hey, this text message you're going to be sending is going to cost you money. It's going to show up on your bill. Do you want to do that? And you're going to be able to say, yes, I do, or no, I do not. So, there have been cases of malware in the past, or maybe not so much malware, but apps that are doing things they shouldn't be, such as sending those type of codes out there, and so that's going to put a hindrance on that. Also, there's going to be basically a VPN always on. Like right now, if you're on a VPN, the VPN disconnects, or your internet dies, and let's say you switched Wi-Fi, you went from maybe LTE to Wi-Fi or so forth, your VPN dropped while it did that maybe, and you keep browsing the web, and while you're browsing the web, since you didn't know your network connection dropped, you could be browsing the web insecurely, and that's going to be slightly changed. It looks like where it's going to the VPN is going to always try to be connected, or you're going to be able to specify, only always use a VPN for my connection. The details in there are a little bit fuzzy, but something along the lines of having a VPN always for network access is in the pipeline, it looks like, at this time. And the big thing is SE Android, which is based off of SE Linux. And SE Linux has been around for a number of years now. Security Enhanced Linux was originally developed by the NSA to harden Linux, to make it more secure. It's a bunch of user add-ons, kernel add-ons to enforce security policies. Basically, it means that when the user runs a program and system services, apps, so forth, they run with a bare minimum of security privileges based on defined security policies and permissions. There really is no true concept of a root user being able to do everything and have full access to everything. I mean, it's there, but it's not there. And the system dump that Android Police got said that it was going to come in 3 modes. You're going to have it being on all the time, so security all the time, not letting anything run that shouldn't run, or logging, which it's turned off, but if you have some type of breach, you could look back and look at the log and see what could have been prevented. And then lastly, you could turn it completely off. So that may still come down the line with those 3 options, but earlier in the week there were some new commits submitted to Android that basically removed that functionality. So if it does come to Android 4.2, as of now it might come fully enabled without the ability to turn off. I mean, this is all still based on speculation. Who really knows? This is basically just looking at the code and saying, yep, the code that was submitted takes away that option. Do we know how it's going to be implemented? No. This is just me looking at it and saying, oh, okay, I know what that means. So your guess is really as good as mine on that. But the bottom of the line here, besides all the technical geeky mumbo jumbo stuff that some of you might not really care about or understand, it's basically very secure, and it's going to drastically cut down on the amount of potential malware that could run on a system. You can't stop everything. A piece of malware could run in its own context and have access to its own files that have the same permissions, but it won't be able to jump from context to context as easily. So it's very, very, very good. I mean, servers, Linux installations have been using this for many, many years. I've used SE Linux on web servers and mail servers for years to harden the system. So it's, tell you what, it's confusing as hell for me, but I understand the baseline of it. So it makes it all that much better. I mean, it's good. I mean, who doesn't want more security, right? And last but not last but not least, 2-layer notification. So right now you pull down on the notification, the status bar for your notifications. All your notifications are hidden there. Custom ROMs and TouchWiz have toggles up there. Well, with Jelly Bean, with expanded notifications, and then you have toggles and then so forth. You put it in landscape mode. Now your screen in real estate has gone to nothing. So Google has an answer for that, and also the addition of their own power toggles or notification toggles called quick settings. Don't really know exactly what that is going to entail, but it looks like it's 2-layered. So you swipe down 1 layer to pull down your normal notifications, and then once that window is pulled down, you swipe down a second time for your quick settings. Is that going to be power toggles? You're going to be able to configure it. Who knows? But the fact that it's going to be baked into AOSP right now without having to have a custom ROM or a custom UI, that's pretty damn cool. I know a lot of people that root just for the fact to have toggles, so
yeah.
that's very cool.
I don't know about the double swipe. I think they can implement it better. That's just my point of view. The double swipe seems like something that is kind of unnecessary, and how they had the expandable notifications. The first way that they implemented it was not amazing, and that's why they changed it. So I think that'll change how they do that in the future, if that's even implemented.
And you got to remember that this is just a placeholder. We're just basing this off of a placeholder image. So right now, if you swipe down the second time, you see a image that says future home of quick settings. So there's no actual quick settings there, just an image.
Yeah.
So I mean, this is an alpha system dump, obviously. So a lot of things can happen in the future. It could be not implemented at all. It could be something that they couldn't get ready in time by production date and decided, okay, that's coming in 4.3 or 5.0 or something like that.
And Dan, you had some more information about malware?
Yeah, so the FBI put out a warning about Android malware. And when people actually started looking into the warning, it was based largely on 2 applications, one of which has been installed on approximately 30 devices anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
So out of
Beware.
500 million Android devices, 30, really not a big problem.
No.
The other one is not even really malware. It's sort of a gray area of malware where it's kind of like what was the carrier tracking thing that everybody went crazy about?
Oh,
Carrier ID.
Yeah,
the
QID.
IQ.
it's similar to
IQ.
that in what it does. So I mean, yeah, it is tracking you and doing stuff you probably don't want it to do. But in the event that it's installed, it was probably your local government that installed it, or carrier, or company.
Hold
Right,
on, I'm just
like,
gonna get my tinfoil hat.
It's not
okay?
something where, yeah, well, I mean, part of the problem, and it's not entirely, their fault. Part of the problem is that they can't really have a Google market for it because they
Exactly.
can't sell applications there.
It's like that for a lot of Eastern Europe and Asia.
Yeah,
Most people
so it
lock out.
forces these shady other markets to
Yeah.
pop up around.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to reverse decompile some code and just chuck in some stuff.
Yeah, yeah, but I
So
mean,
that's
realistically,
what we have to do.
people think about malware and like in a computer, oh god, I opened that email and followed a link and now I'm infected. It's not like that in Android. You click the link and it can't just install something. It's going to have to pop up and give you a warning about you don't have the permissions turned on to sideload applications. Go through a malware warning to enable that. Then you're going to have to download a file browser, navigate to find this application and install it. Go through another warning about permissions, and then it's installed. Like, this isn't something that just, whoops, I got malware.
Maybe they're asleep at the wheel,
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that are still scared by system permissions, consumers that don't have a lot of knowledge, it can be sort of a daunting thing, like you're giving up your location and access to all your contacts and so forth, right? So
Although,
perhaps maybe just the blinders get put on after a period of time.
Yeah, I mean, Google does a pretty good job at laying out what an app can do. It's just not everybody pays attention to it, so I
Well,
guess.
most people just install an app without look. The same as the end user license agreements. People don't read those.
You just click
They just
past
want to.
it,
They just want to.
Yeah.
They want to click past it, tap past it, get to the thing they bought, or they're at.
There's
They
been
don't.
court
They don't
cases
read
that
it.
say that people really aren't actually like legally bound to those because nobody reads them.
Exactly. Just click the box, man.
Right.
And I guess that kind of plays along the lines of people not actually looking at permissions. Well, with the new Play Store, it's in the code right now to say Google doesn't think you should install this app, or this app's permissions are kind of interesting. You might want to double check. So it's going to give it. I'm assuming it's going to be another type of pop-up when you click to install. It's going to say, wait a second, you might not want to do that. So if you're not reading permissions, Google's going to read them for you.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's move on to some new app updates and new released apps. First, let's start off with Netflix. It got updated, and it is now available in Sweden, Denmark, Norway, and Finland. It has new subtitle support, improved subtitle support for Android version 4 and up. And also, it does fix, at least for me, it fixed a lag issue that I had with streaming. The next app update is Google Calendar. It's actually a new release. They released it to the Play Store. Yeah, Google Calendar got released. It's for Android devices 4.0.3 and higher. This is big because it allows Android phones that have skins. Let's say if I had TouchWiz, I have a different form of Google Calendar. And in order to get a unified one exact experience over all devices, Google has released a calendar app that anybody can really download. And what do you guys think about this? Is this a step in the right direction?
I
It's
think
about time.
it depends on how far they take it. If they release basically all of the core applications, calendar, contacts, camera, all of it, put it all in the Play Store, and then the core Android code is just the platform. No apps, nothing. Right?
But in the past, Gmail used to be, an only Google app. Maps used to be an only Google app. YouTube, all these apps you couldn't get download from the Play Store. So that means they weren't getting updated on phones timely.
Right.
Now the calendar is a Play app. It can get updated in a timely manner. And like what you said, if you have a custom ROM, that too. If you have a custom skin UI, you can actually have Google's direct calendar. You don't have to have a third-party OEM made manufacturer calendar, or you don't have to, if you're on a custom ROM, you don't have to install G apps to get the calendar. And frankly, if you did, if you're running a G apps version right now and you install this, you'll have two calendars. So you can go ahead and go into your system directory and delete the calendar, and then install the one from the Play Store. I did that just as an FYI.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, and also people don't realize for a lot of the core applications there are sort of extra services running behind them beyond just the application, right? So like for calendar, there's a whole bunch of calendar synchronization agents that means that is sort of what is packaged into Gaps. That's why it's so big, right? It's got all of the contact calendar, all of the Google synchronization stuff that's behind the scenes, and then once you flash it, right, you just get the market. You're at the Play Store. You don't get all of those applications, but you need all of that extra stuff to make contact and calendar and everything else work with Google.
And that's all stuff that used to be proprietary. That's what you weren't allowed to.
Yeah. I mean, it's still proprietary, but this means they're breaking it out and sort of packaging.
Yeah, exactly. It's not proprietary. It's not technically. I mean, in reality, it's borderline illegal to include that. That's what CyanogenMod got in trouble for. Years ago. They weren't allowed to package Google apps with their ROMs, and it looks like Google's moving into that phase where they're releasing more of their apps to allow people to have.
They're definitely opening it up.
Anything.
Not only that, but it allows them to basically say anybody on any device with any skin from any OEM can have the totally stock experience.
Yeah, and a unified and
great.
Doesn't change. Okay, so moving on, we have an update for Nova Launcher. It's packaged with my ROM that I'm running, so that's why I'm talking about it. Basically,
I use Nova Launcher too, Scott.
Oh, okay.
It's a good launcher.
Yeah, basically a lot of bug fixes. And also notifications for apps that got updated, supporting more apps like Google Voice and different apps like that. You can see how many notifications you have on the icon itself. That's nice.
Well, they also merged changes from Android 4.1.2 as well. They updated the launcher with the latest launcher code from AOSP.
And then Chameleon Launcher updated to version 1.1. The biggest updates for this was the native Android widget support, which was kind of nice. Chameleon, the widget SDK was released to 1.1, and Twitter widget and a improved calendar widget, which I'm starting to use this a little bit more. For those of you who don't know what Chameleon Launcher is, it is a app that was started through Kickstarter. It was funded and got a lot of funding. How much funding did they get again?
50 grand? But then they had the whole controversy, some of the money.
And then they relaunched it and it got more.
Yeah.
Okay. And then we got a lot of Google Play Store updates. A lot. First, we have Wishlist, which is now available. And Wishlist basically allows you to go to an app and add it to a wish list, or add a bookmark to it, basically how I look at it. There's no way to sort wish lists. Like, let's say I added a book to a wish list and I added a Android app. There's no way for me to decipher, just show me all of my wish list items that are books or things like that. So that's kind of disappointing.
Any web interface to see it?
What?
Is there any way to see it on the web portal?
I haven't checked it out on the web portal. But I know that on the Android app.
Wish list on the web portal. I'll tell you what, while you're talking about that, I would just bring up my web browser here and check that out.
Also, now that you're on the web portal, credits are now available to purchase directly from Google. You can buy $5, $10, $15, $25, and $50 from the Play Store. So that's cool too. Also, developers from India can now sell paid apps in the Play Store, and supporting more countries is good, and it allows them to create some stuff. Then Derek, there was something about Google Now and Google Talk. What?
Yeah. So, what was it? Yesterday, maybe today, a bunch of Android blogs covered the fact that, including ours. So I'm going to bust on ourselves because hey, you have to be fair and balanced. Isn't that what Fox News says?
They are so fair.
so fair and balanced. I'm going to bust on us, and I'm going to bust on a whole bunch of other Android blogs too that covered this. So about a year and a half ago, Google came out with Guru at a Gtalk account. It was the Google Guru. And you could send the Google Guru messages, say what's the weather, the movies, sports scores. You could do Google searches, and since all Android phones allow you to do voice to text, so you hit the Google Talk contact and you say, what's the weather? And it types it out in voice to text. You hit send, and in a few seconds you'll get the weather. That's actually been out for about a year and a half, but a bunch of Android blogs ran it as, hey, look, you can now get Google Now for non-Jelly Bean phones. You just have to use a little hack with Google Talk. Well, I mean, this has been around for a year and a half, like I said, and also I got to rant on this subject for a second. It's not Google Now. It's Google Search, Google Voice Search, whatever you want to call it, is not Google Now. Google Now pops up card notifications. This does not pop up card notifications. It's just Google Search. But yes. That functionality has been there for a year and a half. If you want to find out the weather by using your voice and you want to do it by Google Talk, well, you can do it with Google Talk.
If I push the search button on my phone,
come on now, Dan, you're going to make it too
question, it was going to go to a browser and give me the answer?
Oh, exactly. So it's just another avenue for people to do it. You can send it to the Guru. I mean, everybody remembers Smarter Child from years and years ago with AOL Instant Messenger. Well, when the Google Guru came out, that's what everybody called it. Everybody said, hey, look, Google's bringing back the Smarter Child. But it's always been there. It's nothing new. Move along, nothing to see here. No binders.
No binders.
No binders. Actually, maybe we should do it. We should send the Guru a question. Just ask the Guru binders and women. See what he says.
Come back with a wise response.
And so,
there's a lot of secret stuff that's still embedded.
Got some ICS. It's only been out for a year now, and some Jelly Bean updates this past week. Asus is a company that updates their damn tablets. I mean,
they do.
They've updated nearly every tablet they have. We're still waiting for the OG, the original, to get Jelly Bean. But besides that, they've been on the ball with all their other flavors of the Transformer line. They posted firmware for the Transformer Pad Infinity. So if you didn't get the OTA, you can go ahead and snag that and flash to your heart's content. Over there, updates on Verizon. Well, Verizon, they're ICS and all the things a year later. The Droid Bionic is going to start getting it as of tomorrow, actually. So if you have a Bionic, first of all, I'm sorry. And second of all, start spamming that update button. It's going to be available tomorrow. The LG Lucid, the cheap 4G
you apologize for the Bionic? Wow.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It was $80 when the Lucid first came out. It was a decent deal for a cheap phone. It's getting ICS finally now, and the Droid Razr HD and Razr Max HD, they are announced and they are on Verizon and Amazon for $199 with the 2-year contract. So you can go ahead and place your pre-order and get those devices now.
Yeah, and then the Max HD is $299 with a 2-year contract, and off contract from Verizon it's $649, and from Amazon it's $729.
You sure that 649 is not for the non-Max?
What?
You sure the Verizon price isn't the non-Max?
They might be.
$649.99. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny that they can call it a Max, when it has a smaller battery, than the original Max.
Yeah.
Well, battery
it also has a more efficient processor.
True.
Yeah, battery technology got better, hardware got better.
I don't know that the battery is worth an extra $100, though.
Oh, it is to the manufacturer.
That's
That
true.
might be true. I don't know that it's worth it to the consumer.
Well, now.
You know what? If you can have a phone that can last for days, then yes, it is, in my opinion.
That's right.
Like, I hate to say it, I'm traveling tomorrow to the. Okay, I'm sorry. I love to say I'm traveling tomorrow go to the Big Android barbecue, but I am literally scared to death that my phone is going to be dead by the end of the day because I'm going to be in an area with 4G. I'm going to be using 4G the whole time I'm there, and my phone is not going to make it to the end of the day, and that sucks. I get great battery life right now, but that's because 75% of my time is on Wi-Fi.
Honestly,
I would buy the Max. What's up?
I got a nice little 7300 milliamp little portable battery unit. And it has 2 USBs on it and LED flashlights, and I just use so much data, and I'm on the device so much that I just keep it in my pocket, when I'm rocking at the club. And it feels like stepping back like 30 years.
Are you happy to see me?
It's like massive, It's like the size of like a carton of smokes in my pocket. But at least I can continue to pull down data, and I'll never have to be worried. It's twice the size of the Galaxy Note's battery, Galaxy Note 2. So no matter what, I always have juice on the go. You'll definitely want to get one.
Well, let's ask our viewers. Let's ask our viewers if the Nexus 4 came out and it was priced at, let's say, $600 off contract. Would you pay $100 extra for a oversized battery, or would you go out and buy a cheaper one, third-party style?
Yeah, let us know in the Google Plus page comments because we're watching those. So while you're letting us know if you'd spend $100 for a better battery, the HTC Butterfly J. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that name. Not gonna lie. I mean, it's basically the HTC Dix, which we've talked about on the phone a lot, or the show a lot. It's the HTC Droid Incredible X, or the Droid XL. I mean, no one really knows what the other names were because they were all rumored and speculated. But yeah. So that phone's coming out in Japan. Is it going to be rebranded and come out on Verizon as the HTC, Droid XL, the HTC DIX? Is it going to be the HTC Nexus 5? There's all sorts of rumors and speculations. I personally would love, and I've said it before, I would love for the HTC Nexus 5 rumors to be true, for it to come out on Verizon, and for me to buy it on the day that it's released. Now, I'm gonna have to watch Japan because the battery, I don't remember how many milliamp hours it has, but the battery's kind of small in my opinion. And that's basically what HTC has done in the past. HTC has a history of undersizing their batteries, in my opinion. They always have done that. So
Evo 4G.
yeah. So I'm kind of.
I get great life on my Evo 4G.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that possible?
I was also running a very highly tuned kernel for it.
Yeah.
Where did you get that highly tuned kernel on, Dan?
What, you make
I
it?
can't imagine.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe you should make one of those highly tuned kernels. I'll tell you what, Dan. I'm telling you, I think
this is one of the reasons why I haven't. I get all-day battery life out of my 1S.
Nexus 5 turns out to be true. Hey,
start selling these kernels.
If the HTC Nexus 5 turns out to be true, Dan, I better be running your damn kernel within a week. That's all I'm saying.
Are you going to buy one?
I'd pay for your kernel.
Develop for a blind. I'll be your beta tester. Develop for a blind. Be a real kernel dev. You don't need no hardware. What are you talking about?
You mean like the what 7X30 platform devices that I've never owned?
Yeah. You don't own 30 HTC phones, yet you make kernels for you. I'm sorry, you used to make kernels for every single damn HTC phone out there. So
Oh yeah.
I'm bringing you back. I'm bringing you back.
Back from the dead.
All right, so let's talk about some carrier info here, Scott. So ISIS is coming out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
ICE is rumored to come out the 22nd. This is going to be interesting to see how this goes. I'm curious to see what the reaction will be, and I mean, right now it's just really a lot of unknowns, and it's a platform that's really new that has hindered a lot of other platforms in adoption of NFC in general. I wish them the best of luck, but I don't know how the adoption is going to be if they force it upon people. And that's kind of what they're doing in the sense of taking other apps and not allowing them in the App Store or not allowing people to use other things and restricting them. So I don't like this walled garden version of it, but it is nice to have more competition because then Google will increase, they'll innovate with Google Wallet and add new features. And so I guess this is good in the end, but we'll have to see how the success of ISIS is actually going to be.
And they're doing it a little different. They're NFC-enabled SIMs. I mean, that's a little different, than the current, Google Wallet NFC devices right now. I mean, it's actually a piece of hardware on the actual, device versus, you slap in a SIM to use it. That's interesting. We'll see what that does.
It's better for users.
To lots of devices very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
It's better for you.
In the SIM
There's
card.
so much at stake with regards to all of this. The fight's going to continue raging on. And there's also when you consider like the geographic limitations, there's still a lot of industry incumbents. In the financial payments industry, obviously banks and others. They're investing a lot of resources into this to try and get their piece of the pie.
Yeah, because they want people to pay from something that they always have, and make it less and less of carrying a wallet and credit cards and stuff around, and just, hey, I have my phone out because I like looking at my phone and I'm talking with people, and just
it makes so much sense. Like in Hong Kong or in Japan or South Korea, people don't even women don't carry purses and men don't really have wallets. It's just all on their phone. So all you have to do is look to these more mature sort of smartphone economies that have had this technology in place for a long time, and to know it is inevitable, and that consumers are comfortable with it there. It's just there's still a lot of fighting that has to be done in the West, I think.
Carrier-related fighting.
And they're always going to fight. I mean that's basically going on right now. AT&T, who would have thunk it, is not impressed that I don't remember the percentage, but a very large percentage of the U.S. spectrum is now owned by one company, because Sprint actually is now 50.8%. So basically, almost 51%, almost a controlling majority of Clearwire.
Not almost a controlling majority. That is a controlling majority.
It is. Yeah.
Well,
50 point anything percent is a controlling majority. They control more shares than anybody else.
And a lot of foreign ownership, surprisingly, too.
Well, yeah, 70% owned by Japan.
Yeah, well, SoftBank owns them. Well, not owns them yet. It's obviously not FCC or FTC approved.
Meanwhile, the GSMA releases that report saying Americans are paying 4 to 5 times what the rest of the world is paying per gigabyte.
Well, when you
LTE.
whittled out some of the other stuff and just down to what you're paying for LTE, it was only double. But the difference is then they're really, really gouging Americans for text and phone calls, whereas they aren't doing that to everywhere else.
Well, yeah,
they have to right now because, it's all going to be on data, so they're trying to squeeze out all of the things that they have left because, eventually they're going to be, obsolete, and SMS will be no longer, and all those different things they won't...
Just data.
Yeah, they won't have to charge for them because people won't want them at all. So it'll just be over data, and it'll be fast, and it'll be nice. But they're trying to penny pinch people right now.
The thing is...
So back to that... Clearwire, they're a WiMAX solution, and I'm.
No, they're not. I mean, yes, they are, but
The
they're also
transition.
currently
And are
building
they or aren't they?
They currently run a WiMAX network that is Sprint's 4G WiMAX. They
Thank
are
you.
also currently building I
Yeah.
think it's TDD LTE
It's a, yeah,
network,
TDD LTE.
which is the only such network in America. And one
Yeah.
of, I don't know
So
why people
fast.
all of a sudden got the idea that Sprint wasn't going to buy out Clearwire. It looked from the start like one of SoftBank's conditions was Sprint buys out Clearwire.
Most
Because
likely.
SoftBank runs a TDD LTE network in Japan.
Exactly.
So they want to be able to basically do a massive economy of scale. One device that can run on their networks in the US and in Japan and anywhere else that they work with.
And
It
now
makes
they're going
a
to
lot
be
of
able to.
sense.
Yeah.
The thing about TD-LTE is that infrastructurally, it's a lot less expensive. Like once they already
Yeah.
have the infrastructure path established, it's not going to be expensive for them to recoup their investment. And
Yeah.
and hopefully North American carriers, they stop gouging people because it's going to get pretty cheap for them from here on in.
Yeah, no, and especially with all the work that Sprint has done with their network vision,
Yeah.
like to build out Clearwire's TDD LTE network, it's not going to be, oh God, we have to wait forever for Clearwire to go put up tower, put up tower, put up tower. They're just going to roll into the Sprint towers, add a box to the very modular setup that they have,
Exactly.
flip a switch, and it's on. And they can aggregate all of Clearwire's spectrum holdings, which are substantial, on top of Sprint's. So they can go from the 5x5 LTE that they're running right now, which is why it's so slow, and boost it out to 10x10 or even 20x20 to go up to what Verizon and AT&T have, or further.
And
So-
you're saying 5x5, 10x10, that's spectrum?
Megahertz blocks.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's imagine it's sort of the width of the tube of data. So it's
More data.
a very low diameter sort of amount that can go through there currently, which is why it's slow. Whereas AT&T and Verizon are running on 10x10, which is a lot bigger.
I have a question for you, Dan. I mean, obviously, a lot of news about Huawei and ZTE, and those are some of the largest carrier telecom equipment manufacturers in the world, and they produce like pretty good stuff, and it's cheap. But this sort of politicized report demonizing them, saying that there's secret packets of data going back to the Chinese government. What do you think about all that?
I think it's a lot of American political bullshit.
Yeah.
I think that there
Except for the few 8 ZTE devices that were actually found to do that.
Not phones, actually. We're talking just the
We're talking
Just
network
phones? Okay,
hardware.
okay.
Not-
Just phones,
not-
then yes.
Carrier-
not consumer
carrier
devices. We're talking
Yeah.
hardware, not something
But
you can
ZTE is,
buy.
number 2 in the world for that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you have like Siemens and all these other big players, right?
Yeah, no, the White House let leak a report basically saying there's absolutely no evidence backing that up. We've tested
Yeah.
them. There's no problems with these things. We don't know what anybody's talking about. I think it's reasonable to believe that there are people in American politics who would like to cast China and Chinese manufacturers in America in a very negative light.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's an interesting subject to bring up. What happens if some overseas company tries to do that, and it would be detrimental to all of our data getting sent over. And
Yeah.
there are extreme cases, but I think it's a very interesting topic.
I'm not saying that it's not worthwhile to be cautious, but
I'd be
I think
cautious
that
of anything
it has
coming
a lot
from a
more to do
country
with
that's
political
constantly trying to
protection.
The White House has done
declare
this
cyber
before,
warfare on us.
Yeah.
The State Department said, no purchasing Lenovo laptops, but I mean, we have to consider where all our technology is made, and we know
Right.
why, because the cost of labor. So
Exactly.
you throw in the political element, and it's like, what are you guys doing? You're trying to bite the hand that feeds.
Yeah. I think it has a lot more to do with politics than any kind of reality.
Yeah, maybe.
All right, so we're getting a little off topic here, so let's bounce back here. So the last thing in carrier news I want to yell about for a second is in Play Store billing is coming to Verizon, which is almost shocking because Verizon doesn't like to do these type of things. But you'll be able to buy things from the Play Store, content from the Play Store, and have it be billed up to a certain amount directly to your Verizon bill. So that's cool. That's
cool.
nice for kids, in my opinion, that don't have credit cards. Their parents give them an allotment, which is hard blocked by Verizon. Don't go over this set amount, so they can go ahead and buy they can go ahead and buy apps and music and songs and everything. Don't have to worry about it. I think
That's
that's good.
Piss off a lot of parents.
Kids going crazy.
But you know what? It's going to make Verizon make money somehow.
Oh, yeah.
You know, because they're bringing.
They'll make
Hell yeah.
You know, their quarterly earnings came out saying they make more money, yet they're still finding ways to screw their customers. So, yeah, why not? You know, let's keep it up. You know, more money.
Money's good.
The American way.
Yeah, the American way. It is the American way. So let's talk about some miscellaneous news here. So tomorrow is the first day of the big Android barbecue in Hurst, Texas. Yours truly will be there. Definitely excited. If you haven't been paying attention and you're watching or listening to this tonight or tomorrow on your way there you go. Download the show, the podcast when you have your airplane flight. You know, most people are flying more than an hour, right? Bring us on the plane with you. Slap it on your phone. Slap it on your tablet, headphones, and listen to it offline. It's perfect. It'll kill an hour. We weren't that exciting tonight, but you know what? No, that's fine. That's fine.
We're just getting started. We still have.
We covered a whole bunch of topics. All right. So anyway, the bar crawl, the Saturday night event where, well, you walked around the bars or crawled. As the night goes on, you may eventually crawl to bars. But the official bar crawl has been officially canceled. But have no fear, it's canceled for a good reason. HTC and NVIDIA are here. HTC is going to have a one party at the actual Hearst Conference Center. And vendor parties, I'm not going to lie, I've been to many of them before. Vendor parties are great. And they're going to be giving away a whole bunch of stuff. So let's see, it's going to be from 7:30 to 11:30 on Saturday night. They're going to have a cash bar. But NVIDIA is rumored to be doing something drink-wise. Wow, that was a big boom. A little bit of thunder going on here, so if I get disconnected, my apologies. So what I say? Yeah, so NVIDIA's going to come drop some drinks on us. Don't know the details on that. There's going to be music. There's going to be prizes and all sorts of good times. So if you're there at the barbecue, definitely stop by the HTC One party with NVIDIA on Saturday night. They said it ends at 11:30 if you want to do your own bar crawl afterwards, and that's perfectly fine too.
Making me jealous here, Dar.
I know, you should be going. You should hop on a plane right now. You know,
I wish I
if you
could.
leave right now, you'll probably get here by what, Saturday?
Almost the time. My request is that can you get a GoPro camera strapped to your head, and then maybe you can hack it so we can get a live
Get
feed
some
of what
Google
you're
glasses.
Yeah, that's what I want to see. I want to be there.
Well, there's going to be actually a whole bunch of people live streaming this event, as well as the actual barbecue folks themselves. They're going to be live streaming a lot of the sessions, but a lot of the fun, the socializing, from what I hear from talking to various people, is going to be streamed via Hangout on air. So you'll be able to tune in. There's going to be pictures posted, videos posted. You'll be able to see what we're getting into down there, all from the internet.
Oh, you're gonna have a great time. All the Android enthusiasts, in that part of the world, are gonna be there, so you're gonna be able to represent.
He'll be there in a gorilla suit too.
Dan, did you touch on patents at all?
No, there wasn't a whole lot of news on that this week. Just Apple's appeal of the Galaxy Tab in the United Kingdom. They lost their appeal, which now means they're going to have to put on their UK website and in the press in the UK public apologies for falsely accusing Samsung of being a copycat and publicly acknowledging that Samsung is not copying them in any way.
It's going to be really interesting to see how they try and play that one. Their PR people, the wheels are spinning in the mud. I can feel it.
Yeah.
That's a tough spin, man.
Yeah. I also think that's a spectacular punishment for patent trolls.
Oh, man.
One thing I do want to touch on is the new Chromebook that was released.
Yeah, we're getting some questions about that from Steve. Yeah, I saw that.
So, new
what do you think about
Chromebook
it, Scott?
made by Samsung. It is $249, and you get 100 gigabytes of free Google Drive storage for 2 years. That's awesome.
That is awesome.
Has 2 gigs of RAM. Has a an ARM processor. That's actually how they're able to get the pricing down a lot more from the previous models. It has, the previous models came with various Intel CPUs, and this has a Exynos processor in it actually, so it's a little bit different. But that doesn't mean it's not fast though. I've seen demo videos of it, and it's nice and fast.
Yeah, I mean,
what's interesting? No, sorry.
This is like an ideal device for grandparents, people that use minimal stuff. Also, people that watch videos and things like that. Also, if you have more than one Google device, let's say you have a whole bunch of Android devices across your family or whatever, and want to share a Google account, singular one, that's 100 gigabytes of free storage for 2 years. That's cheap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really cool. If you have, because I have a tablet, a phone, maybe getting another tablet, maybe getting another phone here, and that's 100 gigabytes over all those devices. I can back up a lot of different things.
You have fun with that.
What's an interesting note about this? Russell Hawley, a former show guest, as well as a writer for Geek.com, was talking about this earlier today, that you can buy a new Chromebook, the $250 Chromebook, and a Nexus 7 Android tablet for $450. So two of them for $450. And
That's
that's a good deal.
To get similar functionality out of the new Microsoft Surface tablets that are coming out with a keyboard, that's $600. So you get two devices for the price of one and save $150. If you look at it that way, that puts it into perspective.
I mean, Intel has dominated the space for a while, and they're scrambling to get mobile. And obviously, we're seeing really good performance out of single-core processors. But just how much they charge, just for the actual technology that they're giving manufacturers. ARM has never done that. And even Apple, if you go really deep into the supply line rumors, even Apple is apparently gearing up for an ARM-based notebook. So it'll be interesting to see how things shake up. I mean, we know they can do it if they just strip down the kernel and they create something custom.
Yeah,
so maybe that's why Intel gets squeezed out.
Yeah, that's why Apple is starting to push their own architecture. The interesting thing with this Chromebook is actually exactly what ARM chip is in it. It is the Cortex A15 Exynos 5250, the new dual-core Exynos 5.
Wow. Oh, it's the big guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's powerful. We're just beginning to see the future of how powerful these things are.
That is the chip that is finally Samsung's answer to the Qualcomm S4. Granted, it's coming out at the same time as the S4 Pro, making it a little less impressive, but whatever.
But I mean, a lot of guys are saying, the spec war is almost close to dead. I mean, 20 megapixel cameras, and obviously more efficient architecture. But I mean, really, for most people, I think that we're beginning to see the beginning of the end kind of thing.
Yeah, I also do want to point out that with regards to storage, it's $59.88 for a year of 100 gigabytes. Okay. Take that times by 2. That's about $120. And $249 minus $120 is a cheap device. You got $129.
But Google builds their own data centers, man. I mean, they're able to
their storage space is very minuscule cost to them. But the thing is, $129 for a laptop?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna probably go pick one up.
I mean, after they get their advertising more efficient,
I'm getting one for my wife for Christmas. I'll tell you that right now. My wife used to use the CR48 until her geek husband decided to put Android on the CR48, and I mean, that was a fun-filled day for me. My geek points went up. I had a lot of fun, but functionality went way down. So my old demo Chromebook I got from Google basically has been sitting here on my desk for the past 3 months, just not doing a damn thing. And my wife uses the tablet. She gets on my computer when she needs to. But I'm gonna be getting her a Chromebook for Christmas. Definitely.
There goes the surprise, man.
$250 steal.
Yeah.
How about viewers? Are you going to buy one, or are you going to wait for another release? Because this is pretty cheap, and this is $129. I mean, that's cheap.
Well, people still have to pay $249, but it's very cheap for what it's packing. And I mean, it'll be a good notebook for most use cases.
Oh, sure. I don't see a need for it in my life.
That's
Like
yeah,
I
I've heard
don't
that
see
before.
another device opening. I have a 7-inch. I have a cell phone. I have a 7-inch tablet. I have a 10-inch tablet with a keyboard. I have a laptop. I have a desktop. Like, I just don't see space for another device in my life.
No, I understand.
Well, Darcy, I'd like to thank you again for being on the show. It was nice to have you on here. Maybe we'll get you back here. And I know the
Oh,
time
you
difference
will.
is killer. You being over there on the other side of the world right now, literally 12 hours ahead of us.
Yeah,
So,
it's okay. So thank you very much for
yeah, I
having me.
mean,
It's a
hopefully
pleasure
we can
to.
have you on again.
I will be back with
If there's
hopefully
any
more juice.
other questions here, we'll go ahead and check the comments here real quick. See if anybody has any other questions for us here. Okay, so
Okay,
as
so
usual, you can find us at the same bat time, same bat channel, and
yeah,
those are where, Scott?
every Thursday night at 8:30 Central. Darcy, what time was it when we started it for you?
8:30 in the morning here.
It was 8:30 in the morning. Okay, so
Yeah,
so
it's all good.
Hence 12 hours ahead that I said. Yeah.
8:30 p.m. on Thursday nights. And if you guys are watching us on our YouTube channel, Android Authority, if you want to participate in the show and add comments and add your perspective, check out our Google Plus page because that's where we broadcast this and look at most of the comments. Also, if you don't want to watch us on video because we are ugly, or if you just don't. Or if you just don't want to
Except for
use the
Dan.
bandwidth to stream the
Dan
video.
has a lot of fanboys and fangirls.
Yeah, if you just want the audio, you can go to SoundCloud. It's an Android app. Also Stitcher Radio. You can also find us on iTunes for all you iFans. And we also do have an RSS feed for audio and news. And also on AndroidAuthority.com, if you scroll down to the bottom right side of the page, there's a section called On Air, and all of our posts and shows go into there.
All right, Darcy, thanks for coming, buddy. And Dan,
Thanks so much, guys.
as always, we loved having you here.
Always
Scott,
nice
have
to
a
be
good night,
here.
everybody. And we'll be back next week, and I'll be reporting all sorts of debauchery from the Big Android Barbecue.
Have a good night.
Have fun. I know. Have fun this weekend. I'm sure going to.
Have a great time.
Yep. See you.